So, real or fake? Real or fake for the room? Black people should protest negative representation of themselves in the media.
What is that? What do you mean, real or fake? What is that even?
So, real or fake?
Statement. So you say real meaning you agree.
Yep.
Fake meaning this is some bullshit.
Okay,
Yeah.
can you read that again?
Yes. So, real or fake? You rock with it or you don't. Black people should protest negative representation of themselves in the media. Real or fake?
Negative representation of like their own actual selves or other black people.
Both.
Yeah.
Just black representation in the media.
Yeah. Let me toss this. I'm gonna toss this over to the guests.
Fake.
Fake.
I don't agree.
You don't agree with that? Okay.
Why?
Do you need me to go into why?
So what the
Do you
fuck?
need me to come into
It's because it's so. What one person takes as offense may not be offensive to someone else.
Damn, wow. You know what? I'm shocked. I thought you was gonna go a whole different direction.
You know, so that's why.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I guess I'll go.
But you see, you already had a preconceived notion of how I was going to
No,
because you have
my
something,
apologies.
you
My
know?
apologies.
Well, thank you very
like-
much.
Well, I'm gonna say
To his
this.
point.
This is real as fuck for me,
Okay.
and the reason why is because I'm sick and tired of. For one, I really hate when anytime I have any conversations with white people in regards to like racism in this country, and for some reason like these alt-rights or these white supremacists or just these white trolls, they always bring it back to like hip-hop or crime and this that, and the third, right? But they're basing this off of what they see in the media, right? And what I was telling Rome earlier was when you look at criminal activity on TV, they always depict like black and Latino criminals as heartless, no honor, no code, this and the third. However, when you see like the Japanese, the Irish, the Italian like gangsters, they all have a code. They're all honorable. They take care of their family.
Yeah, that's true.
They're all about marriage and this and a third. And so like they live like two lives almost. While the black and Latino thugs, that's all they are. 24/7 and just murderers. And so to me, that plays a negative role in how white people view us. And then so when you as a black person, you like a business owner or something, just that representation that a white person has from the media may go, I don't really trust Dre with with my assets or my resources or whatever because he might steal from me because he's black. You know what I mean? And this is all taught. This is literally now this is being drilled into their subconscious. And so to me, I'm like, if there's no balance in the media where there's like proper representation, like to me, I'm like, if you're gonna show like criminals, right? At least like that's why I enjoy the show Power. Although he is a criminal, they show that family is important to him, and so that's like a different representation that you haven't seen from like quote unquote black criminals. So that's why I'm like, you know what?
Yeah, but that also says that that there's a problem with that statement because it also outlines that it's okay to be a criminal as long as your higher purpose is for the family.
No. I'm saying that's just my threshold. Maybe we as a society could come together and decide, hey, what is acceptable for us as a community? However, our image isn't owned by us. You know what I mean? And because of that,
how much? Not to interrupt you, but your statement, you have such a specific statement. But how much black entertainment and movies have you really consumed in order to make such a statement that you stand so firm on? Because really, have you really watched enough to make a conclusive decision that all black guys in movies are labeled as XYZ?
All no. However,
Right.
Maybe just a few that you've watched.
All right. So this is what I told Rome also, that in college I took Images of Black America, right? And matter of fact, even Fu took the class with me.
Who taught the class?
It was a black feminist woman. No bullshit.
Well, surprise,
I'm
surprise.
just saying. But hold on. But
Wow.
I mean, listen to the title of the class and then listen to
Nah,
who
but
taught
hold
it.
on. But
And you're about to tell
in there,
me.
but hold on, we're walking in literally in the class, right? We went from Birth of a Nation on down to present day representation of black people, black families, black men, black women, and the stereotypes that are listed all within Hollywood. But when you look at, let's say, I don't know, our Jewish counterparts, seeing that they run and occupy Hollywood.
Ooh, careful.
Right. You know, I'm treading on light water, right? So now, when you really think about this, and then I asked Rome this, right? How many movies or shows have depicted Jewish criminals?
Well,
Like
first
Jewish
of all,
mobsters, criminals.
you see the problem with
Yo,
that statement.
I'm gonna say this. I know of one movie and I know of one show,
But what can
and it briefly highlighted their negative image.
But what?
Why though?
How
But
do you
think about
There's
this.
a
What do you
problem
guys
with
say,
that
Dre?
statement, right? How do you identify who is Jewish and what crime they're committing? They have. What I'm trying to say is, does the show have to go out of its way to say here are Jewish criminals?
Yes.
Right. Why do they need to go?
You know
out
why?
of their
Because
way?
there was a such thing called the Jewish mob.
Yeah, but
Just
you
like the
can't-
Jewish mob literally built Hollywood. So
Hey, that's
think
your
about
statement.
that. The Jewish mob built Hollywood, and yet we don't even know
Listen, I'm gonna say this shit's fake. It's definitely fake. You know what I mean? I feel like there's two. I feel like that's an old way of thinking. I feel like that's a little
I
dated.
agree.
You know,
that.
this is.
I
the,
guarantee you don't agree with him.
Nah, this
He
is
said
the.
it's fake. I said it's fake too.
That's the only thing I'll agree
This is,
on.
he said it's an old way of thinking.
It's an old way of thinking.
What's an old way of
What's
thinking?
an old way of thinking?
What you're saying, that whole all of these
Yes.
individuals are depicting, all these black people are being depicted as thugs and all that. I feel like there's a lot more out there than just
Like what?
Showtime and
Like
all
what?
of that. There's plenty of networks.
Like
Not-
what?
not only that,
Like what?
You're gonna literally look at everything
Like
on
what?
the airwaves.
Nah,
you're gonna
just
look
give
at
me-
anything.
yo,
that can-
but here's the-
nah,
this is
because none
easy.
of that shit
Like
fucking
what?
matters.
Just give me
This is
an
the problem,
example.
But this is the
Because none of it
problem that
matters.
I outlined,
It
right?
does matter. What
The
do y'all?
airwaves and
Your
cable
image
don't
doesn't
matter.
matter.
What's
The
the
airwaves
Nigga
and
shit
cable
matters,
doesn't
right?
matter.
But nigga shit matters.
The airwaves and cable
So
doesn't
I'm
matter.
gonna ask you again. Where do you see all of this positive representation of black people?
Why are you looking for it on a platform?
Yo, y'all
built-
fucking serious?
that's true.
Why?
Yeah.
Because
Why are you
our
looking
image,
for it on the
because
platform?
our
You didn't
image
let me
dictates.
finish my statement.
All
Let
right,
me
go
finish
ahead,
my
go ahead,
statement.
go
So
ahead.
why are you
Go ahead.
looking?
Are you asking for?
Let the nigga rock. Let Rome rock
He's
with the
asking for
bullshit.
specific TV
No,
shows?
let
He's
Rome rock.
looking for TV shows, but let me just say this real quick. G is looking for positive representation on a network that's literally built
I'm looking for balance.
to provide provocative entertainment.
Not only that, to piggyback off of what you're saying.
Yes.
What the hell do you consider positive? Because what you consider positive, I may not consider positive.
I agree.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree.
That's A, and B. No one is forcing you to suck up that entertainment.
I
Is someone
agree.
forcing you to watch these shows?
No.
You could easily vote with your view and turn it off.
I agree.
And
That's
yet-
not the
and yet-
point right now because
Oh, okay,
if
well.
if anything, because if anything, that should be real because that's literally what I'm doing. Because it's literally the question. We should protest negative representation, correct? And that's literally what I do. What I am saying is this, though. The reason why we should is because this is the representation that a lot of white people have of us. You gotta remember.
Speculation.
I mean,
Stop
listen,
it with
when
the
it comes to
speculation. Hold on,
values,
let me explain one thing. And this is why, and then I know you're gonna be like, oh my God, social justice police, oh my God, the social justice warrior bullshit. But you gotta understand, there's a lot of white people, right, that are in all white neighborhoods. Their only representation of black people is the fucking
just not
television,
right.
is
But
fucking
whose
rap
fault is
music.
that?
Who the hell?
I agree,
How does
it's
he know
our
this?
fault. No, come
How does
on.
he know this?
Thank you. Bingo.
He's
Is it-
making this.
Yo, you know how I know this? I literally work at a fucking university where literally white people will go, yo, it's my first time seeing more than one black person in the room.
But hold on.
What are you talking about?
More than one black person in the room does not equate to that's their only experience with a black person.
Oh my God. Yo, it's cool, dog. Don't worry about it. Yo.
I'm just
All
saying
right,
his
all right,
statement, his
yo,
statement
shit,
is
you
too
got
general.
some-
It's just too
It's
general.
a little general.
It's
a little general.
2018.
Yeah, this is that
It's
Negro peeing shit. I got you,
2018.
dog. I got you.
Nah,
I got you.
hey,
Yo,
dog.
much respect to both of y'all, motherfuckers.
Listen.
When next time y'all get pulled over by a white guy, and his only fucking experience
just an
with fucking black folk
archaic
is
way
a
of
fucking
thinking. That's
happened to me.
it's fucking a
I got
Casanova
autistic
video,
experience.
and that
Happened to
nigga
me.
sees y'all niggas, it go punch you in the face, motherfucker. I knock your teeth out.
Man,
I never had an issue with it. I
You
wonder
never had
why.
an issue.
I wonder why. I've been pulled.
God
I'm a
bless.
carry concealed
God bless.
individual.
God
Police
bless.
pulled me over. They knew I had a carry
Yup.
concealed.
God bless.
And all he did was ask me a question.
All right.
Oh, you have your weapon on you? No, I do not, officer. All right. Have a nice day.
All right. That's blessings.
Solid.
Okay?
That's one individual experience.
Exactly.
Thank thank you. It's one individual experience, but thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
I were to go off of what your argument is, I should be afraid of that because
I never said be afraid. I'm saying be strategic. It's a big difference.
yeah, strategic.
So
is
now,
right. Because
hence,
I conduct
our
myself in a
Jewish
certain
counterparts
way.
are strategic. You know what I'm saying? Our Italian counterparts are strategic. Our Irish counterparts are strategic.
Black
Our
people,
Chinese
she ain't rocking with
counterparts,
y'all.
and that's why China is investing so much in motion pictures because why? They want to change the image of China.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
important.
Absolutely.
Black
That's
people
not
are
to
the only
say
ones
that
that
these other
go,
ones
yo,
can't
dog,
exist.
I mean, fuck it. Yo, like, who cares?
That's not to say that
Who
this other
cares?
representation can't exist. That's all.
Oh, all right then, niggas. All right.
think as long
All
as
right,
it's balanced, it's
cool.
fine.
It's cool.
You
It's
know
cool.
what I mean?
It's cool.
Sorry,
This is amazing.
we
I'm
didn't
shocked
even
at you.
Hey,
I'm not shocked at
she
him.
speak.
I'm shocked at you.
Me? What
She
am I
done got
doing?
so hot.
What are you
She
shocked
ain't
about?
even let she say
Hold on,
nothing.
what
Go
are you
ahead,
shocked
Sheen. My
about?
bad. My
I'm
bad.
curious what
Hold
he's
on,
shocked
hold on,
about.
hold on.
That's
Go
what I
ahead,
want
go
to know.
Sheens, please
So
quell the energy in the room.
while you all were talking, I had a minute to think.
Absolutely.
Gave me some time to think, and it gave me like perspective that would help fuel my opinion. At first, I was going to say fake, right? I was gonna say fake because at the end of the day, it's all a calculating move. If you protest something, you're gonna do an interview with a white publication and give that white publication dollars. If you're protesting like the way that you were treated on a show, there's a certain percentage of people who are going to watch that show to see exactly what the experience was, and you're going to contribute to numbers and points and ratings for that show. But I do feel like it is real, and we should protest like negative stereotypes and perceptions, but we should be calculating about the way that we protest. We should not talk to white media. We should not talk to white coworkers,
problem?
whatever the
Got
case may
problem?
be.
Yeah.
We should do it quietly. We should do it
Okay,
quietly.
but you know what you're saying is correct. The only issue is, in order to protest, the parameters need to be defined.
I agree. I just said that
Right.
earlier.
But-
I said the
but-
community needs to
Yeah,
decide
that's true.
what's
Needs to-
appropriate, what's inappropriate.
Yeah, but and how are you ever going to come to consensus?
Hold on,
something
I
like
got
that?
you. Perfect example. Now, I don't know if y'all knew about this show. It's called Sorority Sisters, where it was similar to like Love and Hip Hop, but it was like a bunch of like black sorority members, right? Literally, the four historical black sororities banded together and got that show taken down from VH1. Why? Because they said that's a negative representation of our organizations. And then those ladies that were on the show all got kicked out of the organizations. Why? Because this is not what represents these organizations. So now black people need to do the very same thing.
Did you watch the show?
No, I did not.
So do you know whether or not the sorority, when they came after them, if they had a legitimate reason to
Yes,
get
of
it
course.
shut down?
I seen the trailer. I seen the trailer alone. I was like, this is too ratchet. You know what I'm saying? Like, these organizations wasn't based upon ratchetness. These organizations were created to uplift black people.
I don't know.
You can't uplift black people with ratchetness.
When I hear VH1, which is a very liberal outlet, and I hear
Liberal outlet.
and I hear black women protest, it doesn't surprise me that they acquiesced and said, "All right, we'll pull it off the air." Because
You know
that's
why?
something
Because
that,
black women actually have power.
that's something I
spending
feel like
power.
VH1 would
Another
do,
thing that I wanted to
as
add
not
before I
as
forget
not
is
to
that
upset
we also
anybody.
have to rethink and look at what we, why are we looking for representation on the TV?
Yo,
agree.
that's what I
I
said.
agree with you.
You're looking
I
to this
agree.
white
Why are we
publication
doing that?
that's
I
built
agree.
off provocateur.
Think about it like
putting
this,
out
right?
images that they want.
When
Y'all
you
want,
look
me, y'all want me to answer that?
Wait.
Thank you.
But
What's the
But-
alternative right
but
now?
I think I think about
Internet
it.
is the alternative.
Wait,
Sorry. Sheens,
I
please.
think about it a lot like this. Like I was talking to somebody the other day. Like how interesting is it, right? That if you own a gun in your home, and there's PSAs about kids picking up the guns, shooting themselves, and things like that, right? That's always the image that you see. That's like a gun PSA. You've never seen on TV before, and correct me if I'm wrong. You've never seen the depiction of a young person saying, "That's my mother's gun. That's my father's gun. I'm not to touch it. I'm not supposed to touch it." Wouldn't that be a shining
what- you know
beacon
what?
of
Yeah, I think I
powerful
proved my
influence?
point. That should be balanced, right? I'm
Right.
saying there's no balance in the media. So then when there is no balance, that's when social justice warriors take over.
Let me
That's
bring it back
according
to
to
this.
you,
Let me
man.
just
There's
read
no
the real or
balance
fake one more
according to
time. I'm
you
sorry.
and your
Okay,
perspective.
that's
So
it.
is
Remember
black
what you
people
just said.
protest?
The real or
Remember
fake-
this. When we having this conversation,
The real or
keep
fake
that energy, my nigga.
is black
Yeah,
people should
nigga.
protest.
Keep that energy, bro.
Black people should protest negative representation of themselves in the media. That's
Yes.
the real or fake.
And that's real as fuck.
That's fake as fuck.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Because
we
it
have
doesn't even go into balance. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be a balance. But what I am saying,
you're gonna ask these black and white questions though that have such gray area. That's kind of an issue.
There is a lot of gray area here.
You can't say, yo. I mean, obviously, if it's a grotesque enough.
What's grotesque? You keep saying it's relative to the individual. So
no, but I mean there are grotesque things that have blacks have been represented. Absolutely.
Like what? Can you give us an example?
Any kind of like Sambo, like super
Negro peeing type shit, right?
Well, whatever. See, you're not taking it serious though.
I am serious. I am taking it serious.
There was a time where blacks were depicted in a very disrespectful and very negative light.
But you saying it changed now.
Move far past that.
Hold on, do you see anything like that on TV these days?
Yes.
Like,
but hold on, but those people are participating. That's the part I don't understand.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Coons participate in their own demise, bro.
Okay, so they're all coons.
Listen, that's not what I'm saying.
Right?
That's not what I'm saying.
They're all coons.
No, don't try to play me.
Oh.
See, I see these type of strategies, and I choose not to engage.
The
reality is this.
Question.
The reality, and the answer is this, right? Some people do things short term. They don't even see the long term effects of what they do. Perfect example, right? I think it was Chris Rock, right, when he made the Negro versus the nigga jokes, right? And he himself said, "Yo, he regretted, he regretted doing that joke the way that he did because he felt like the nuance was confusing to the audience. You see what I'm saying? Which when people like a white person hears that type of shit, they go, "Oh, what the fuck?" Like.
Yeah.
I guess these are niggas. You see what I'm saying? But at the time, when he's making a joke, it's funny. He's not thinking of the long-term ramifications of his words.
He's not. But
thank you. That's my point. So then so now there's certain people that are in ignorance, right? Or they're just literally thinking of a paycheck. You see what I'm saying? So like now, look at like Jay-Z, right? The stuff that he raps about today may not have been the same thing that he was rapping about 15 years ago. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because now he has a family, he has a daughter, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So then now, because of that, I go, you know what? Who are the responsible people in the room? The executives. So when the executives see these young black men rapping about killing themselves, this, that, and the third, right? And all of that negative representation, right? These same executives are not going to tell their young sons, yo, do the very same thing that these black kids are doing. These white executives go, son, yo, that's what they do. But us, we're different. Yeah. We have culture. We have this.
His role as an executive is not to be a psychologist.
He's to profit off of our hardship, right?
Can I say one last thing?
Yes.
Like, it's not up to us. Like, I think Talib Kweli was on the Breakfast Club, and other people have said this. Like when they were talking about like the sexual assault in Hollywood, he said like it's not up to women for this environment to change. It's up to the men. It's up to men for this environment to change. So in the same fashion, when we talk about like the negative perceptions that white people have on people of color, we don't really have anything to do with that. That's on white people. We can't really.
See, we was almost on the same page.
But is she wrong? Because it's white Jewish execs that you're complaining about, and you're banging on their door.
They control it. However, we still participate.
However,
it's just like me, right? Hold on.
Like, yo,
this is the same argument I made with Dre before on the previous episode.
But I think that the attitude has to be that the perceptions that they have of black people are their problem.
It's their perception.
No. It's no longer just their problem. It's all our problem.
Where their perceptions from?
Thank you. It's all our problem because it negatively affects us. It doesn't negatively affect them. That's the difference. You know what I mean? So now, hold on. Let me just say this. This is kind of like what I said in the episode before, last episode Dre was here. And I said to Dre, racism, white supremacy, white institutionalism, that would cause our current condition. However, today, we have the power to change it. So I can't say, yo, only blame white people. We play a hand in that as well. So it's like
how much of a hand?
How much is we
how
or
much
they?
Of a hand?
It depends on what you're talking about.
How much of a hand do we play in our own futures, in our own lives?
A major piece.
Give me a percentage. If you were to break it down.
I was going to break it down. I don't know. I would say 100%. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
So if we're responsible for 100% of the way we're perceived in culture, for our actions, why are we having this discussion about how whites and white supremacy is holding us back?
And you could get discriminated against for not even acting into those like stereotypes anyway. You can get called a nigga for not doing anything niggerish anyway, just for the color of your skin.
I agree. However, we need to actively control our image to change the perception of ourselves. That's what I'm saying. And so and I'm being real, right? Like, what's that book? Tom Burrell's book, Brainwashed, right? Where he literally created this book because he was a major marketing guru, right? That worked with Ford, Coca-Cola, McDonald's on how to get these corporations to sell their products to blacks, right? Literally his whole career was just to create black people and make them consumers. Like that was it. And he became so guilty in his older years. So then he created that book called Brainwash. Mm-hmm. We are socially conditioned to behave the way that we are. I was in school for marketing. I understand the psyche of people. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you keep feeding a person a particular image, they're gonna listen to it. They're gonna just continue that cycle. Hence, that's why we have the vast majority of African Americans as Christians. That's by design. You see what I'm saying?
No, that's your opinion.
Shut the fuck up.
Hey.
That's facts, bro. That's an opinion.
It's your opinion.
It's an opinion.
It's your opinion.
This shit getting
It's
crazy.
your opinion.
Yeah, that book, yo, it's
It's
pretty
your
official.
opinion. And not only that, let me ask you
Come
a
on,
quick question.
son. It's not opinion.
How would you market to black people if you Panic wanted to market their products to black people?
If I panicked, what you mean?
You panicked the
If
business.
Uh-huh.
How would you market this to black people to sell something to them?
Okay, stay on topic, please, for the sake of time.
Oh, okay.
Why? I don't understand. I'm really not even understanding the point of the question.
I want to understand what kind of marketing strategy would you use to target black people when you want to sell them something?
Yo,
and do you think any of those strategies that you may use may be offensive to somebody? Because I'm sure I could find someone that might say this is offensive to me.
Hold on. If in fact it's offensive, right, then we as a brand, we have to decide, do we want to alter our marketing strategy to appease those people?
And that is the problem with political correctness, and that's what we're
No,
moving into.
it's called business. No, that's fucking business.
Marketing,
that's called business.
Marketing even in itself
Yes,
might be
of
a white
course,
man's
because
game
it's called
anyway.
business.
So
I didn't say if all.
Well, listen.
I didn't say if all of your.
Yeah, I know you said if some.
If some.
And then
And
we
you
have to
see what
decide
happens?
as a collective. We go, yo, you know what? Yo, like, is this worth it? You know what I mean? How will it affect our bottom line? If we go, yo, you know what? We could afford to not have, these 500 customers. Hey, it is what it is. But if we go, nah, we need these 500, then, hey, it's a business. You got to think.
You sound like a white executive.
I sound like a fucking business-minded person, whether it's white or black or whatever.
Under the Western way of thinking, of course, right?
Nigga, it's called business, bro. It doesn't have to necessarily be Western. You know what I mean?
You're just highlighting the idea that it's all relative, man.
That's my point. What the fuck?
It's relative. It's relative. Like when I say it's relative.
Let's go to the topic, dog. This shit's getting crazy now.
It's not getting crazy.
I don't understand. Y'all niggas is not even arguing with me. Y'all niggas just saying my points now. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I'm just saying that there's a balance to it. I'm just saying that not every negative representation has to come up. And I think Dre's point was, well, what's negative? You know what I mean? Because a lot of it is things that people have actually experienced, and artists want to express that.
Yo,
and there's no reason that any one of them
example.
should be silenced.
Precious should have been protested by the black community. There's no reason why that shit should have got created. 12 Years a Slave should have been protested by the black community. No reason why them shits, that movie should have got created.
But you know what?
Let's stop it, yo.
Let
Let's
me
stop
just say
it.
that this is exactly what I was going to
Yes.
say. A lot of times when we talk to people and we tell them what should and what should not happen, really, we're talking about ourselves. You feel that it should have been that
Hell
way.
yeah.
Okay?
Yup.
So you're trying to prescribe or push onto
You see-
other people on how you feel.
yes.
Hold on. Now, you see, no. I will. How about this? You know what? I actually agree with you. However, we're not talking about law. We're literally talking about our dollars, individual dollars, right?
And
so now, this is where I know.
Did they not fight for her to get like an award for that movie?
No, this
Yo, I think
they gave up. There's mad awards that fucking both of those shitty ass movies
people
got.
were clapping and happy about it.
Yeah,
right?
sometimes black people don't understand the negative effects that they're putting on themselves. You see what I'm saying? But however, this is gonna go into the topic, so maybe I should forfeit right now because because I already know that's actually a great point because I agree with you on that point. I'm not saying it should be law. What I'm saying is freedom of speech, right? You should honor that in this society, in this culture, right? That's one of the pillars of our society. I'm not saying outlaw A, B, C, D, E, F, G. What I'm saying is let there be balance. And if there is no balance, we need to think about the long-term effects of what this does to not just us, but our children and our children's children. Everything is generational. So if we just go, yo, it's just entertainment, fuck it, it is what it is. And then you wonder why our communities look the fuck the way it does. It's because we think like this.
It's because the people lack personal.
Yeah, because there's white entertainment pieces that have that same kind of what you call negative representation of them. But look, that was real or fake.
Absolutely. Absolutely, you're right about that.
And they prosper,
I can't wait to hear the comments.
And so do Asians, so do Asians, so do Latins, so do Africans. I mean, have negative representations about them. Let's take Asians for a second. How many movies, shows, like audio, like mock Asian people for the way they talk, for the way they look, and I don't see it affecting any kind of Asian progress in the world today.
Because they just, like I said earlier,
they
just
own
keep
most
their
of Hollywood
economics
now.
on point.
They own most of Hollywood now.
But look, that was real or fake. Let's jump into political correctness. G look bothered.
I'm not gonna, Joe. Trust me. I'm just waiting for these questions to come out. I see. I gotta just take out the sword because I'm leaving with 2 heads today. Instead of 1.